All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be volume 3 in a new series that I've recently started called Tell the Truth, Shame the Devil. And this edition will be featuring a so-called Caucasian Jew who also happens to be a homosexual by the name of Adam Eli. And we're going to watch as he utilizes the mainstream liberal media for what they're good for, that being propagating and perpetuating false notions of what the concept of quote-unquote hate is, while there are certain demographics, i.e. homosexuals, lesbians, transgenders, who are allowed to be incensed by what they perceive to be indignities as they cast the indignation of others into the category of hate. They don't understand that indignation works both ways. But it's very interesting how they decide to cast the various characters of this very short narrative right here. Let's just pay very close attention. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
There's a disturbing encounter captured on cell phone video, and it's going viral.
Once again, brothers, the terms equality, hate, etc. should always be enclosed by quotation marks because they're redefining those words. Quote unquote hate is if you do not accept any of the Luciferian ideologies that they're teaching the masses at an extremely and exponentially increased rate. If you pay very close attention, all of these reforms are coming down so quickly. It should tell anyone who is spiritually attuned or inclined that this society is starting to spiral down the drain. Not even really starting, continuing to spiral down the drain. And it's going to start accelerating.
Each directed at a man who is Jewish and gay.
It happened at a subway station at 28th and Broadway, and now that man is speaking out about the incident in Manhattan that even has the mayor weighing in, and CBS 2's Jessica Layton has this.
The insult started as Adam Eli was getting off at this subway stop at 28th and Broadway.
This reporter claims that this character, Adam Eli, was insulted by someone and that the insult started as he exited the subway. He was not insulted, he was told the truth, and he could not handle that because this society operates according to a series of facades. That being that people can do whatever they want and also claim to be spiritual in some way, especially aligning themselves with what they call the quote-unquote Abrahamic religions. The Abrahamic religions are an affront to many of the sentiments that they're trying to push. That's why they attack Islam. That's why they attack quote-unquote Christianity, or really the Bible per se. These belief systems are a direct affront to the pansexual energy that they're trying to push all across the world in veneration of the quote-unquote Baphomet.
Vile comments quickly becoming too much to ignore. Out of the blue and with an angry finger point, Adam Eli says this man started hurling outright hate.
No, what that man did was tell him the truth in a quote-unquote harsh way. And for people like this person right here, who's been told that no matter what his proclivities are, his misunderstandings of life are, or what lifestyle he accepts, everyone is supposed to accept him. And that's not the way of the world. That's not how things work. There are certain sentiments, ideologies that I adhere to that I know other people are not going to vibe with. That's okay. But that's how you know that people of his ilk are not strong enough to truly embody what they claim they embrace, because they can't deal with backlash. So now they have to try to engineer everyone else in society to quote unquote love them, because they really don't love themselves. And that's why the quote unquote suicide rate is so high amongst people like him, whether they be homosexual, lesbian, or transgender. They try to blame others for their psychological issues because they have yet to come to terms with the fact that they have a psychological issue. That's what this society does. It's trying to make functional or normal people who have decided to make their own personal choice. And whether you want to categorize those personal choices as a sign of being mentally disturbed or not, the findings of the Center for Disease Control, they speak volumes.
The gay Jewish man dressed in denim with a pride patch and bedazzled purse to take off his pink kippah, or
this dude has a pink yarmulke on and a bedazzled purse, but he's trying to align himself with the Torah. Certain brothers out there will say, well, you know what, that's just a Caucasian Jew. He really believes in the Talmud anyway. Yes, but they also try to align themselves to the Torah. And that's what the gentleman who pursued him and castigated him, or really reprimanded him, was upset about.
You're desecrating the name of God.
What, because I'm gay and wearing a kippah? Is that why?
The disturbing encounter spilled out from the subway station onto the streets of the Flatiron District as Eli was heading to a fashion show Sunday afternoon.
He started following me and chasing me and yelling at me, and then I realized how angry he was and how intense it was getting, so I started filming.
Stay in the closet. Take it.
Dude said, stay in the closet. There's a lot of people like this cat out here. And I don't think that those who try to push the liberal ideologies understand what they're doing. You're going to force the hand of people who know better. You're going to force them to confront you in a very, very volatile way if you don't learn to accept that everyone is not going to accept you. For years, we've been told, for decades really, we've been told that the quote-unquote LGBT community just wanted to exist and not be bothered with being harassed by others. But nothing can be further from the truth. We know for a fact that not only through the LGBT quote-unquote coalition or organization, but also clearly higher powers that are influencing these top corporations. There's a concerted effort to push that psychosis on the masses, and they're focusing on your children. And there's a direct correlation between that and the demonization of gun ownership that we're seeing in America, where they're using maturing candidates to put forth a lot of these so-called mass shootings so that they can create a pretext to take away your guns. Because once they take away your guns, that's when they're really going to go all out and pushing these ideologies on the masses, starting with the school system. Right now, they're scared that there's going to be a mass rebellion if they do what they're currently doing over there in Europe, which is telling children that there are 100 genders and things of that nature. I mean, people are totally bugging out right now. And it's really prophecy, because the scriptures tell us that Satan will come down with great wrath because he knows that he hath but a short time. This rulership that we're in is nowhere near as long as many people try to promote or claim that the Caucasian has been in rulership for 400 years over our people, or they've been dominating for 4,000 years. You know, in conventional quote-unquote historical narrative, they'll tell you that the ancient Egyptians were Caucasian, that the ancient Greeks were Caucasian, so on and so forth. That's to push the energy that's needed for them to maintain their rulership, because in order for them to rule, they have to concoct and contort history. But just getting back to the point, you're going to see a lot more cats like this who are unafraid to tell people the truth if they're personally offended. I don't even think that this cat was upset about the other dude being a homosexual. What he was upset about is that the other dude is trying to make his lifestyle okay according to the law of the Torah. And that's what they've been desperately trying to do with the Bible for a very long time. And that's another reason why they're trying to make all literature digital, because they know that if you digitize literature, you can change it. When you're dealing with books and the written word, what's printed is what's printed. But once they get everything into a large database, they can take out certain language that might be quote unquote offensive to the overall sentiment of what they're trying to propagate across the world.
Keep off! This is not Judaism!
Stay away from me.
The 28-year-old Greenwich Village.
Now look at this dude right here. It's very clear that he has no understanding of and no true belief in the Torah. He has an issue with whatever it is his identity is supposed to be. And that's his problem. But once you try to associate that with anything associated with the Most High, that's where the offense is going to come in. And he's also an idolater. Not only does he have the quote-unquote six-pointed shield or six-pointed star on a necklace, but he also has Princess Diana, so on and so forth. He has his nails painted, and he's throwing up the so-called peace sign for Pan, who is his real god. His real god is Pan, and I suspect he took that photo out in whatever wooded area that he's in to show that he's a witch and that he's saluting the quote-unquote god of the woodlands, that being Pan. There are many witches that are undercover, and that's another topic. I don't want to digress too much into it, but there are a lot of witches undercover in the science industry as well as in the social engineering industry, what we call influencers, whose job it is to make you believe that they can do what they want and also associate themselves with the Most High and hopefully influence others to believe the same thing.
With a huge social media presence.
Now look at this. It states Adam Eli. Queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere. So that's truly what he's concerned with. He's not concerned with the scriptures at all. And I mean, it is what it is. He's a so-called Caucasian Jew. If you understand their history as the Khazars, the term Khazar means swine, how they were living when they were dwelling in the Caucasus Mountains. What he's doing right now is more akin to his actual ancestral lineage than claiming to be associated with the Torah anyway. So I'm much like the cat who approached him. Do you, but don't try to associate yourself with the Torah or with the scriptures.
He posted the video to make a point.
Look at the hatred and violence that is in this video.
No, I don't see hate. I see indignation. If he truly was hateful, he would have just put his hands around your neck and squeezed.
At a cis white man, and now try to imagine the type of.
Now, brothers, did you hear that? He used the term cis white man, and I'll probably be delving into that concept a little bit more in another video because that'll be way too much just for this video and this topic. But you're going to hear that term a lot more. Cisgendered. That term cis, or that pronoun cis, is meant to convey that not only are you an actual man physically, but that spiritually you believe that you're in the correct outer covering for yourself. They're going to try to promote this ideology that there's such a thing as a cisgendered person and a transgendered person in an attempt to normalize transgenderism.
Hatred and violence that's thrown at trans people and transgender people of color every single day.
Of course, he had to throw that one in there about the trans people of color. All of the liberal / Luciferian ideologies always try to act as if they're so caring about people of color because they want as many people in their movements as possible.
The enraged man, who hasn't been identified, followed him for a few blocks. Eli eventually says he had to go hide out in a store to be safe. And while he wasn't physically attacked this time, he knows the next targeted person.
As we see here, never again is now, and he has a downward pointed pink triangle. That's a symbol for homosexuality. That's a symbol for the quote-unquote mother goddess or the divine vagina.
May not be so lucky.
It's imperative that we stand up for our community members that don't have that same privilege.
Eli says he did not file a police report. He didn't see how that could help in the Flatiron District.
In other words, he understood that he's not the recipient of any form of criminal endeavor, criminal activity, or criminal intent. All the person who approached him did was state his opinion in a strong way.
Jessica Layton, CBS 2 News.
Now, the encounter caught the attention of the mayor. Tonight he tweeted.
No shit. For those of you cats out there who don't know, Mayor Bill de Blasio, who's a Caucasian man, he's married to a so-called black woman, and that so-called black woman, before she decided to marry him, was a lesbian.
It takes courage to confront homophobia and tell a story like this, adding that there's no place for hate in this city.
It depends on what your definition of quote-unquote hate is. It is what it is. So peace.